Hello, everyone, and welcome back to EasyTalk English. It's really nice to have you here with us today, wherever you're listening from. I hope you're feeling comfortable and ready for a relaxed conversation.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Linda and I were just talking before we started, and we both felt today was a good day for something calm and inspiring. Nothing stressful, nothing complicated.
Yes, exactly. Today feels like one of those days when you just want to slow down a little. I'm feeling quite relaxed and a bit inspired this morning. How about you, Alex?
I feel the same. I'm in a good mood, and I'm curious about today's topic. It's something many people find interesting, but also a little scary at the same time.
That's right, because today we're talking about art. And when some people hear the word art, they immediately think, oh no, that sounds difficult.
Yes, a lot of learners think art means big vocabulary, deep ideas, or smart opinions. They think they need perfect English or special knowledge to talk about it.
And if you've ever thought, I don't know anything about art, you're not alone. Many people feel exactly the same way, even in their own language.
But here's the good news. Talking about art is not about being an expert. It's not about knowing history, rules, or the artist's real meaning.
Exactly. Talking about art is really about one simple thing, how you feel. Your feeling is enough. You don't need to be right or smart.
That's why this episode is perfect for Easy Talk English. We focus on real English for real life, not textbook English.
Yes, this is the kind of English you use when you're with friends, in a museum, or even just walking down the street and seeing something interesting.
Before we go further, let's ask you a very easy question. Do you like art? You don't need a long answer. Yes or no is totally fine.
And here's another simple one. Have you ever been to an art museum or an exhibition? Maybe you've seen paintings, photos, or street art?
While you're listening, just think about your answers. There's no pressure at all, and there's no right or wrong answer.
Because in art, your personal feeling matters the most. Two people can look at the same artwork and feel completely different things.
And that's actually what makes talking about art fun and interesting.
So today, we'll show you how to talk about art in simple, natural English. No fear, no stress, just sharing what you see and how you feel.
Stay with us, relax, and let's enjoy talking about art together.
All right, now that we feel more relaxed, let's start with a very basic question. What is art? Many people hear this question and think the answer must be complicated.
Yes, but the answer is actually very simple. When people hear the word art, they often think of paintings in a museum, but art is not only that.
Yes, a painting is art, of course, but art can be many other things too.
For example, a painting can be art on a wall, but it can also be a sculpture. Sculptures are art you can see in museums, parks, or even in the street.
Photos can be art as well. That's called photography. A photo can tell a story or show a feeling, just like a painting.
And don't forget street art. You see it on buildings, walls, or roads. Sometimes it's colorful, sometimes it's simple, but it's still art.
Street art is very interesting because you don't need to go to a museum to see it. You can find it while walking to work or school.
Yes, art is part of everyday life. These days, digital art is also very popular. Art can be on your phone, your computer, or social media.
So when we say art, we're not only talking about museums or famous places. Art is everywhere around us. That's an important idea. Art is everywhere, not only in museums. Once you understand that, talking about art feels much easier. Now let's look at how to talk about art using very simple English. You don't need long sentences. You can start by just saying what it is. For example, this is a painting. That's a perfect sentence. Or you can say, this is street art. Simple and clear. If you want to talk about style, you can say, it's modern art. That's already enough information. You don't need to explain more unless you want to. One sentence is fine. And remember, there's no pressure to sound smart. You're just naming what you see. So next time you see a photo, a painting, or street art, try using these simple sentences in your head or out loud. This is a photo. this is a painting. It's modern art. That's already talking about art in real-life English. Once you start seeing art everywhere, you'll realize you already have many things to talk about. And that makes art feel friendly, not scary. Now that we know art can be many things, let's move to the easiest and most useful step. Before thinking or feeling, we just look. No deep ideas, no pressure, just describing what we see. Yes, this part is very important because you don't need to be creative or smart. You only need your eyes. Anyone can do this, even if your English is simple. Let's imagine we're standing in front of a painting in a museum. The easiest way to start is with two simple structures. You can say, I see, or there is, and there are. Exactly. For example, you can say, I see a woman and a child. That's already a complete sentence and a great start. Or you can say, there is a woman in the painting, or there are two people. Very simple, very clear. After that, you can talk about objects. You might say, I see a chair, or there is a window. You don't need many details. Now, let's add colors, because colors are easy and very helpful. You can say, the colors are soft, or I see a lot of blue and white. Yes, or if the painting is strong, you can say, the colors are bright, or it looks dark. These words are very common. When I look at this painting, the soft colors make it look calm. I don't know the meaning, but visually it feels peaceful. That's a great example. You didn't explain anything deep. You just described what your eyes noticed. Now, let's change the scene. Imagine we're outside and we see street art on a wall. This kind of art feels very different. Yes, street art often looks bigger and louder, so you might say, I see a big face on the wall. Or, there are many colors everywhere. That already gives a strong image.
You can also talk about the feeling you get just from looking. For example, it looks busy or it looks noisy, even though it's just a picture.
Exactly. Visual feeling is important. Some art looks calm and quiet, and some art looks busy and full of energy.
And if you're not sure what something is, that's completely okay. You can say, I'm not sure what it is, and stop there.
Or you can add, I'm not sure what it is, but I like the colors. That sounds very natural in real life.
Many learners think they must understand everything before speaking, but that's not true.
Yes, and that's why we say, describe first, think later. Your first job is only to say what you see.
People, objects, colors, light, dark, calm, busy. These are enough to start a conversation.
Once you can describe what you see, you're already talking about art in English.
And the best part is, there is no wrong answer when you describe what you see.
So next time you see a painting, a photo, or street art, try this. Start with, I see, or there is.
No thinking, no stress. Just looking and describing. That's the easiest way to talk about art.
Now that we've described what we see, it's time for the most important part of talking about art. This is where art becomes personal, and this is also where many learners feel unsure.
Yes, because now we're talking about feelings and opinions, but don't worry. This part is actually very simple if you use the right structures. Let's start with the most useful sentence of all. It makes me feel. This sentence works for any kind of art.
Exactly. For example, when I look at this painting, it makes me feel calm. That's a complete and natural sentence.
And you can change just one word. It makes me feel peaceful, or it makes me feel happy. Very easy.
You can also talk about negative or mixed feelings, and that's totally okay. For example, it makes me feel sad, or it makes me feel a little strange.
That's important to say. Art doesn't always make us feel happy. Sometimes it feels sad, confusing, or even uncomfortable.
And that doesn't mean the art is bad. It just means it creates a different feeling for you.
Another very useful structure is, I think it's. This helps you share your opinion in a soft way.
Yes, you can say, I think it's beautiful, or I think it's interesting. These are very common phrases in real conversations.
And if you're not sure, you can say, I think it's a little confusing. That sounds honest and natural.
There's also a nice phrase that sounds very gentle. To me, it feels, this shows it's your personal feeling, not a fact.
For example, to me, it feels calm and peaceful. Or to me, it feels strange but interesting.
I really like that phrase because it shows respect for other opinions. You're saying, this is how I feel, not how everyone must feel.
And that brings us to a very important point. When talking about art, there is no right or wrong answer.
Yes, two people can look at the same artwork and feel completely different things, and both are correct. For example, this painting makes me feel calm and quiet. But for me, it feels a little sad. Maybe it's the colors or the faces. And that's okay. Different feelings make the conversation more interesting. Exactly. If everyone felt the same, there would be nothing to talk about. Let's also look at some simple feeling words you can use. Calm, peaceful, happy, sad are great to start with. And you can also use words like strange, confusing, or inspiring. Inspiring means it gives you energy or ideas. You don't need many words. Just choose one feeling and share it. So remember, talking about art is not about being correct, it's about being honest. Use it makes me feel, I think it's, or to me it feels, and you're already doing great. That's how you add emotion and depth to your English without making it difficult. And once you can talk about feelings, art becomes a very natural and enjoyable topic to discuss. Now that we know how to describe what we see and how we feel, let's take one more small step forward. Don't worry, this part sounds advanced, but it's actually very simple. Yes, this is where many learners think, oh no, this is too difficult. But it really isn't. You don't need to know the artist or the history. Exactly. We're just talking about meaning in a soft, personal way. One very helpful phrase is, it seems to be about. For example, when I look at this painting, it seems to be about family. I see people close together, and it feels warm. That's a great example. You didn't say it is about family. You said it seems to be about family, so it's just your idea. Yes, and another useful phrase is, I think the artist wants to show. This helps you share your thought without sounding too strong. For example, I think the artist wants to show happiness. The colors are bright and the people look relaxed. Both of these phrases are very safe and natural. They show your opinion, not a fact. Now let's talk about style, because style helps people imagine the art more clearly. We only need a few simple words. One common word is modern. If something looks new or different, you can say, it's modern art. Yes, and if the art doesn't look like real life and uses shapes or ideas, you can say it's abstract. If the art looks very real, like a photo, you can say it's realistic. That's a very useful word. And if the art looks old or classic, you can say it's traditional. These 4 words are enough for most conversations. Now here's the nice part. You can combine everything we've learned, what you see, how you feel, and what you think. For example, you can say, I see a family in the painting. It makes me feel calm. It seems to be about love.
Or you can say, the colors are dark. It makes me feel a little sad. I think the artist wants to show loneliness.
See how natural that sounds? You're not explaining art. You're just sharing your experience.
And if someone feels something different, that's totally okay. Different opinions make the conversation better.
Yes, art conversations are not about being right. They're about listening and sharing.
So remember, you don't need to be an expert. You just need 3 things: your eyes, your feelings, and your thoughts.
Use simple words, speak slowly, and enjoy the moment.
That's the aha moment. Talking about art is not hard when you keep it personal and simple.
And once you realize that, art becomes a very friendly topic in English.
Now that we can describe art and share our feelings, let's talk about how to keep the conversation going. This is where asking questions becomes very important.
Yes, because real conversations are not only about talking, they're about listening and asking simple questions, especially when you're with someone in a museum or looking at art together.
Let's imagine we're standing in front of a painting in a gallery. A very easy question you can ask is, what do you think about it?
That question is perfect. It's simple, polite, and very natural. If you ask me that, I can answer, I think it's calm and beautiful.
And then I can respond and share my own idea. I might say, I like it too, but it feels a little sad to me.
See, that's already a real conversation. Two opinions, no pressure, no right or wrong.
Another very useful question is, do you like this kind of art? This works in many situations.
Yes, for example, you can ask, do you like modern art? And the answer can be very short.
I could say, yes, I do, or not really. I prefer traditional art. Both answers are great.
You don't need to explain a lot unless you want to. Short answers are completely okay in real life.
Now let's talk about feelings again. A very friendly question is, how does it make you feel?
That's one of my favorite questions. If you ask me that, I can say, it makes me feel calm and relaxed.
And I might answer differently. I could say, it makes me inspired, but also a little confused.
And that's totally normal. Different people feel different things when they look at the same art. Let's try a short example together. Linda, we're looking at a big street mural on a wall. What do you think about it? I think it's very colorful and exciting. The colors are bright and it feels full of energy. Interesting. For me, it feels a bit noisy, but I still like it. How does it make you feel? It makes me feel happy and curious. I want to look at it longer. See? We don't agree completely, but the conversation feels natural and friendly. Yes, disagreement is normal. You don't have to feel the same way as your friend. In fact, disagreement often makes the conversation more interesting. And remember, you don't need long answers. Even one sentence is enough to keep the conversation going. So, next time you're in a museum, gallery, or just walking past street art, try asking these questions. What do you think about it? Do you like this kind of art? How does it make you feel? These questions are simple, but they help you have real conversations in English. And that's the goal: real English, real life, and real connection through conversation. Before we finish today's episode, let's take a moment to review what we've learned about talking about art in English. Yes, we covered a lot, but the good news is that it all comes down to 3 very simple steps. Step 1 is what you see. You can use easy sentences like, I see a person, or there are many colors. This helps you start talking without thinking too much. Step 2 is how you feel. You can say, it makes me feel calm, or it makes me feel confused. Your feeling is always a good answer. And step 3 is what you think. You can share a soft opinion by saying, I think it's beautiful, or it seems to be about family. When you put these 3 steps together, you can talk about any kind of art, even if your English is simple. You don't need big words or special knowledge. Short sentences are more than enough. Now it's time for our question of the day. We'd really love to hear from you. First question, do you like art? Why or why not? Second question, what kind of art do you like? It could be paintings, street art, photos, or digital art. You can answer with 1 or 2 sentences. That's perfect practice for your English. Please write your answers in the comments. Reading and writing comments is a great way to learn from each other. If today's episode helped you feel more comfortable talking about art, please give it a like. And if you enjoy learning real, everyday English with us, don't forget to subscribe to EasyTalk English. We share new episodes to help you practice English step by step without stress. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Real English comes from real life, and your feelings are already great English.